Can you mute it? No.
Braden, say hi.
Wait, how many people are on it?
Wait, do the running dance, do the running dance. To say something. Yes, do it.
I'm here.
Yes. We can talk about a lot about it.
We can talk about a lot of things.
Pivot.
Is he coming?
Huh? No, this is an executive meeting, bro.
Yeah, turn it around. Do the renegade dance.
You guys need to calm down.
No.
So we have the Director of Health and Sustainability here, Stephanie.
Don't quote me on the
We are in
line.
a recess right now, that is why nothing's really happening.
You're not in the frame. Come down.
Okay, so we are in a recess right now, that's
Speak up.
why nothing's really happening.
No, do the say so dance.
I can't do the say-so dance because I'm not good at it.
No, I'll do it.
We're in a recess right now. I'm the Senate Secretary. I am in charge of my little assistant behind the camera.
What?
His name is Jameis. Yeah. We're bringing you live for the people.
Do the
Of the
renegade dance.
Uvalde community.
Do the renegade.
I'm not gonna do that.
Joe, you're still on.
No, I can't. No, James is better for you. Bro, I don't want
I'm good.
Okay, we now go live to Stephanie.
No, we're not
Oh,
doing
just
that.
kidding.
Joe Besson, your license.
Look, I'd like to thank my supporters.
Joe, you're on the camera.
Look, it's Ray Webb on the line.
Once it starts, I'll move. So what we're debating right now, or what we're about to be debating, is if we're going to go to trial. So a lot of people are probably confused. This is not the impeachment, it's to whether or not to go into trial.
And
You gotta speak louder.
I think we should debate whether or not Joe should do the renegade dance or say so dance.
I'm going to post a
Joe,
poll
could you
now.
Joe, could you actually explain again what's going on?
So
Loudly,
basically, what's
loudly.
being voted on right now, I don't know if I'm being too loud. My
Louder,
little assistant
louder.
behind the camera.
I can't hear anything. So you
Okay,
gotta be
so
louder.
basically what is being voted on right now is whether or not to go to trial. The president will not be impeached or not tonight, found guilty or innocent. This is strictly a debate whether or not to go into a trial. After next week's Senate meeting, if a trial is called to be held by the Senate, then the Senate will investigate next week, and then if she is found guilty in the Senate, then it moves over to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, obviously, the University of Albany Supreme Court, and then at that point, it will be up to the justices, including some very highly skilled future lawyers, to decide whether or not to convict and remove the president.
I'm just explaining what's happening. If you do have any questions about the proceedings, now is the time to ask them using the question feature.
Wait, is the question feature on?
The question feature is on. I've had people ask questions. So.
Look, it's Senator.
Wait, what'd you get? I told you to get something.
I gotta change.
This is my closest-
Say hi
You
to
are
my
live.
stream.
This is Senator.
Would you like to give your thoughts to the people?
Remember viewpoint neutrality?
How many viewers we have?
How many viewers?
We have
142.
142. Hi, 142 viewers. We love the dedication and support, and we hope you guys tune in every night, every Wednesday.
Oh, hold up. We got a question.
Do the renegade. Do the renegade.
I would like to call on the Director of Civic...
Joe, there was a question asked, is the president present at the impeachment? Or at the Senate?
I don't think it's my discretion to determine the location of people. But the meeting
Okay.
is open, so feel free to come and stop by.
Yes. Right. Again, questions can be asked using the question feature. Now is the time. Break will be ending shortly. Oh.
Wait, what did Courtney say?
I
That
was.
awesome. That was a great
We were
explanation.
told, please stop singing TikTok songs.
Period. Thank you, Stephanie.
Liza asks, why isn't Joe answering my email? Someone said, I have arrived late. Can you please reiterate what has happened so far?
So basically what happened so
Say it
far
loud.
is the Board of Finance gave their report. They presented it to Senate, and because all Senate meetings are open, the public were allowed to come, and then we asked questions, and by we I mean the senators, and then the senators were able to and did yield time to the public to answer any questions, and then the Board of Finance and all of its members had the opportunity to answer those questions and further elaborate on their findings. The Board of Finance chairman did go under oath before he answered any of the questions to ensure that he was being transparent and held accountable. So then after that, now we are in a recess right now, and before we go back, we are going back. So
The last question, the video will be available online. You're good. The
Yes,
video will be
because-
available online at our YouTube channel. It'll be posted sometime tomorrow, I'd imagine. As well, they should be available on the Albany Instagram story. We are returning back to the proceedings, so that is
You
all
are
for questions
watching
for now.
UAS PAN, University of Albany Senate PAN, like C-SPAN.
You should turn back off the comments.
I was told not to turn on the comments by several senators. I see no issue with
Bye,
it. but-
Secretary.
I'm gonna go back to typing my little heart out because
Thank you for Secretary. What are the implications regarding?
I did not cause that. There's a spill. Someone get.
I have to respond to that.
Wait.
We have 154 watching.
Yes, we've had 350 max. Yeah. Yeah, could someone please get some paper
See,
towels?
your best night yet.
Yeah, I know.
I'll get paper towels.
Thank you. Alright, I think we have time for another question, maybe.
Okay, yeah, just keep them coming.
There was a question. Will any future impeachment hearings be public?
I mean, yeah, this is the first one ever, so we're kind of doing it according to the bylaws, and then it's open to interpretation by the chair. I gotta go.
My acting parliamentarian is going to flip a coin to determine the order on which the two parties will go. The president has stated that she's going to pick heads, correct? The Board of Finance has tails. Go on, please. It's tails, so the Board of Finance is going first. Right? But before we do that, I've empowered my executive committee. They're going to read the rules to me today because I need some help with them. So, please.
I don't know if the table is the best spot.
Hello, everyone. Hello. There she is. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for being patient with us. This is the first time we're doing this, so it is a group effort for sure. So we have determined that, and the chair has ruled that these will be the guidelines under which we will have this this bill will be taking place. So guideline 1, side chatter shall not be tolerated. This has already been mentioned. We've had problems with it. Please, for the sake of the process, please keep your chatting down to 0. The ability to respond when mentioned shall be suspended. This has already been mentioned. We haven't had a problem, thank goodness. Microphone policy has already been mentioned. This is where things have changed. The questioning, during questioning, the ability of senators to yield time to members of the executive and judicial branches shall be suspended, but the public may be yielded time. However, partisan questions shall not be tolerated, and the consequences for partisan questions will be immediate removal. There is no warning. This is the warning. So please, if there are any partisan questions that are considered, so if questions are deemed to be asked on behalf of the judiciary or the executive branch or the side of the BOF, if it seems to be tilted in this favor or influenced by them, you will be removed from the chamber. Now lastly, the rules for debate. All phones and laptops shall be put away, An exemption shall be provided for anyone sitting at the chairman's table. That is this table right up here where the note taker is taking notes. It's hard to take notes if you don't have your laptop. All vested parties shall be ordered to leave the Senate chamber. That includes the president and the BOF Board of Finance as a whole. And my apologies. They will not be allowed to make points. They will be allowed to stay, but they will not be allowed to speak on one side or the other. And lastly, the power to yield time shall be suspended. So debate is reserved for senators only. The public will not be able to debate on this topic. You're allowed to ask questions. We are more than happy to have your questions heard and answered. But when it comes to debate, debate will be reserved for senators only.
Stay up here for a minute. Yes, Madam President. I'm entertaining questions about this policy before you go on. I want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Madam President.
So just to clarify, laptops are only used for note-taking purposes?
During debate.
Okay, so does that mean only the secretary would be allowed to have their laptop out?
During debate, it's anyone at the chairman's table. There are other reasons we're using them. The note-taking was an example. So we also have our Rules Committee chair who has to... My apologies, acting vice chairman, who needs his laptop for purposes of...
As stated before, senators will be given one warning if you guys breach any of Robert's rules. If you breach it twice, I'm just keeping a tally of it, you will be asked to leave after the second time.
So that's why it's anyone at the table. For the people at the table, there's various reasons that they need to use laptops.
Senator McCracken, you had a question?
Just explain to me why senators are allowed to use the time that's been granted to them because they were elected by the people. They can grant it during questioning. Please explain to me why they cannot grant it to the public. And I have a follow-up.
They are allowed to grant it to the public during questioning because we believe it is important for the public's questions to be answered. However, during debate, we believe that should be reserved for the senators to discuss the document that was already provided to them.
My follow-up is yes or no. Do the undergraduate students pay their student activity fee? That's my question.
Yes or no, say. Too much side chatter.
Once again, side chatter will not be tolerated.
All right.
The reason why we're allowing the public to ask questions because they need a chance to ask the president questions, just like we gave them the chance to ask the BOF questions. We did not give the public a chance to make debate points towards the BOF. So why would we award them that same right to the president? That's one. Two, if we do decide to go to trial, they'll be able to come back with a better understanding of what is going on. This is a lot for people to process in all one day. Yes, us as the Senate, we was everybody in SA was sent the report, but everybody in this room was not sent the report. They need time to digest and understand that information. We're over here trying to put their student activity fees to good use, but they also need to make sure they're understanding the way Senate is being run. This is people's first time being in Senate. If we keep yielding them time, how are we going to keep pausing each time to explain Robert's rules to them?
Senator McCracken, I will tell you that this is my decision. You want to appeal my decision? Appeal my decision.
Mr. Chairman, I motion to appeal your decision.
All right. Okay.
Objection.
Appeal time. Their time. If they yield it, that's their time. They can't speak again. But if they want to give their minute to one of the people there, they should be allowed to. I motion to appeal.
Exercise your right. That's right.
The Board of Finance allowed to appeal or motion.
They don't have
That is a conflict of interest, Senator McCracken. You are a Board of Finance member.
So
Any other senator would like to make that? Like the motion to appeal? Senator Mann's motion to appeal. Is there a second?
Point of order. Can we have silence?
Yes.
Please stop chattering on the side.
All right.
So is there a second?
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Senator Urena.
Objection by Senator Diallo.
There's no. Senator Mann, it was seconded by. Who seconded? Senator Urena. There's been an objection. So now we're going to be in debate about whether or not we should appeal.
Motion to call into question.
Motion to call into question. All right.
Was there a second?
There was a second. Yes.
By Senator Osei, yes. By Senator Osei.
Appeal my decision. I will give it to you in a minute, Senator.
Please, no side chatter. The Board of Finance members are asked to abstain as is a conflict of interest given by the parliamentarian, right? Do you know if all right.
Can we clear A, B, and C?
Let me get this vote going here. So A is to appeal my decision, B is to keep my decision, C is to abstain.
Does the executive committee have to abstain? No.
Yes. Thank you. God help me, Lord. The vote is now open. I'm giving you till a minute.
Point of information, can you explain the vote one more time?
A is to appeal my decision, B is to keep my decision, C is to abstain.
What was your decision?
That's the senators cannot yield time to the public to make debate points, but they can yield time to them to ask questions.
Okay, thank you.
And questions only?
Doing questions?
It's questions only, no comments.
No debate. I'm giving you till
Girl, we gotta be up together. You and I both gotta be up together. I have practice at 8. So we both gonna be up.
the vote is closing. 1 minute. All right, the nays, the vote is 728 for my decision stands. All right. Okay. So Senator Conway, did you finish? Okay.
So the rules do stand, and to go over the final group is the consequences. We did already go over this, but I'm going to go over it one more time just so everyone is on the same page. So the first warning is the chair, and in this case the chair is doing it through me, the explanation and his executive committee. The warning is what we just went over. A second warning will be given to an individual. So if an individual is found to have violated one of the guidelines that has been upheld, then that warning will be given. And then if they violate one of those rules again, then they will be ordered to leave the chamber by the executive committee and the chair through the authority of the chair.
Thank you, Senator Conway.
So we can sit now, right? We're standing up when questions happen, right?
When questions happen, yes. This is now opening statement. So now we're going to go to opening statement. There was a coin. What? It was a coin flip. The Board of Finance stood first. They're going to get 10 minutes as to why they believe this bill should pass. And then you'll be allowed to ask them questions. After that, Madam President will then go and why she believes the bill should fail. And then you'll be able to ask her questions. Then we will go into debate. Then we will vote. All right? All right. Board of Finance. Chief Justice Zhang, may you come up. And the Board of Finance stand in front of the room. All the Board of Finance members. All the Board of Finance members. Chief Justice Zhang, will you please state your name?
Molly Donald.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pain and the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Would you please state your name?
Ivan Christian Dakiao.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalty of perjury?
I do.
Would you please state your name?
Mariella Fonte.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pain and the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Would you please state your name?
Sabra Simon.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pains and the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Would you please state your name?
Tanner McCracken.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pain and the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Would you please state your name?
Samuel Salazar.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under the pain and the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right. Thank you. The Board of Finance may now give their 10-minute opening speech, whatever way you wish to do it. Graydon, do you have a microphone for them?
Good evening, everyone. I know I've said it before, but my name is Molly Donellan. I'm the Vice Chairwoman of the Board of Finance. We have a bill right here recommending the impeachment of the President. This came out of our committee. Before we begin, first and foremost, I want to apologize to the students that are here. It is not lost on me, as someone going to a state university, that many of you are here taking out thousands of dollars in loans. And it was your money from the student activity fee that funded the Student Association president's blatant abuse of power and neglect of duty. With your student activity fee, the president purchased a personal BJ's membership. With your student activity fee, the president ordered multiple personal orders of food, some after hours, claiming it was for a meeting. With your student activity fee, the president bought groceries. With your student activity fee, the president bought multiple items, calling them office supplies, but they were not valid office supplies. So to the senators, the Board of Finance did not vote to impeach the president. We voted to recommend it. And we're merely asking you to look at the facts that we've presented and vote your conscience. Look around the room. These are the people that voted you in to your positions. These are the people that you are accountable, no one else. For years, the Student Association has been a laughing stock for doing the same thing that we have shown today. And now, the Board of Finance has a message. Those days are over. Abuse of power and neglect of duty that goes untouched will continue, not just with this president, but with every president that comes after, if nothing is done. So now, it is up to you. You have seen the facts, you saw our report, you saw what was purchased with your student activity fee. So now it's up to you to decide. Do you want to go to an impeachment hearing to talk this through further, or do you want to brush it under the rug? And with that, I yield the rest of my time to my colleague.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ivan Dakiao. I am the Vice Chairman of the Senate. I was the former Rules and Administration Committee Chairman, and I am the Colonial Quad Senator, and I'm now a member of the Board of Finance. Now, just to clarify, we're not here to impeach the president. We are here to recommend impeachment. When the senators that you guys voted in vote today, they are voting to go to a trial. where we can actually ask questions about the facts that we have provided. So now, if you think that glow-in-the-dark pebbles is excessive, please raise your hand. Keep it up. If you think that gold trash cans is excessive, please raise your hand. Now look around you. If you think that these are not excessive, please raise your standards because you have a problem. Now,
That's not professional at all.
now,
Please. Thank you. Continue.
Now, there have been attacks on the Board of Finance, calling us racist, calling us all these terms that we simply do not deserve. We were just trying to uphold the capacity that was given to us by whoever appointed us. I was personally appointed by the chairman. Some people were appointed by the president herself. And we saw in the Board of Finance that we did not have any allegiance. So I urge you all tonight to take that into consideration when you take the vote. Thank you very much and have a good night.
I'm sorry. All right. Now we're going to go into questioning.
Address the comment. Please. Come on, just remove it from the record or something.
I'm going to, Senate Secretary, please remove Vice Chairman Duckyal's initial question, which was if you raising your standards. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Joe.
The point of information and what is the reasoning about this?
It was deemed a little bit unprofessional. It was deemed unprofessional, Vice Chairman Duckyal. All right.
It was on professional standards and standards of financial understanding.
All right, Vice Chairman Duckyal, we're going to move forward to questioning.
Are they off?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So, you guys can move over here a little bit. So I just feel a little claustrophobic. So I'm going to take questions. Yes, I want to know what's going on with my laptop. If the laptop
Maybe just restart it, Nick.
Hide it. I'm trying to figure this out. But until we figure that out,
Just restart
we
it.
will move forward. Remember, executive and judicial branch members are not allowed to ask questions under the rules that the senators voted on. So I'm going to take first questioning, and also remember that senators will be held in contempt if we see questionings being filtered from the executive and judicial branch into senators. So please keep that in mind. Okay? So let me take first round of questioning for the Board of Finance. All right. Who has a question?
I have a question.
All right. Can someone going to yield? Senator Wise yields time.
He's not on the executive.
He is no longer.
Can you get the mic?
Yeah, I'm just writing the names down first. Anyone else have a question? Senate Secretary, Joe, you have a question? Yeah. All right. Anyone else have a question? Only 2 questions? All right then. Okay. Pass him the mic.
Point of information, who yielded time? Senator Weiss.
All right, so my question is, given the fact that a lot of people were mentioned in the reports of also being, in contact when she was making her purchases, but there was only one person of interest in the reports. So why were other people asked questions as well?
Can you repeat
So
the question?
essentially, there was only one person of interest that actually got to justify or testify. Why weren't other people allowed to do that as well?
Thank you for your question. So there were actually 2 people in the event that was able to testify. Actually, 3 people: the president, the vice president, and the person of interest. So it's kind of misleading to say that there's only one person that did testify. All 3 of them testified, and the only 2 testimonies that corroborated were the statement of the point of interest and then the vice president. It did not corroborate with the statement of the president, which is why we had this impeachment recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, Joe? No? No? All right, well, no one, I'm gonna open it up one last time. No one else has any more questions? Yield time. What's, I know it's exactly So, are you a member now? Former? Okay. Jasmine, Senator Lynch, Senator Osley, Senator Montserrat, Senator Wise. Anyone else? Did I miss anyone? Oh. Senator Marseille? No one else? All right. Miss Jasmine.
Hi, Ivan. How was the person of interest elected?
Selected.
Did you say elected or selected? Selected. So the person of interest voluntarily came to the Board of Finance and said that they wanted to testify.
Yes. What you saying entirely true? They were sworn to take the oath.
Yeah. Okay.
So the person of interest voluntarily came to you, but no one was seeking them out.
I believe so.
The chairman can clarify that.
You cannot believe so. You cannot believe. Just
The point of inquiry was, and I said they swore to take, they took an oath to tell the truth, Senator Gudiabi.
Okay, point of inquiry.
Yes, Senator.
So what would be the proper channel if somebody was saying something that was not true in the oath?
Well, that would be considered perjury. But they
So-
took no.
Okay, so to clarify what I said, the person of interest, when you say selected, so we subpoenaed two people to testify. We subpoenaed the president and the vice president, which means it's not voluntarily. So when I say that the person of interest came to the Board of Finance voluntarily, I'm saying they came to the hearing of testimony voluntarily. They were not subpoenaed to testify, if that makes it more clear.
Just to clarify it further, to my knowledge, the person was reached out to, but they were not subpoenaed, hence the word voluntarily. If that makes sense.
So you said that the person was reached out to?
Yes.
So why was that person reached out to and not directors who spend 10 hours in the office, 10 to 12 hours in the office?
Thank you for your question. To be more specific, we did find a picture that was circulated from the event, and then we selected one of those members from the picture, and that's it.
All right, so they were. Okay. No. Senator Lynch. You're speaking out of order. You're speaking out of order. Senator Lynch.
Okay.
Not take disrespect
So
that is her first warning, yeah. Senator Lynch.
So I feel like where the conversation is headed at, as there are several other people that are in office and they're in office all the time. Why did y'all stop at that one person? Why y'all didn't reach to other people who had even like different perspectives and different opposing views?
Because we didn't only reach out to one person, as I said before. We reached out to 3 people. And the reason why everyone is so focused on this is because the person's name was redacted to avoid any repercussions for the future of this person, if you know what I'm saying. I can't disclose the person or the position of the person, but there is a reason why we redacted the person. Because first, they were in the picture of the event. Second, we corroborated this with the vice president and the president's testimony. And lastly, we fully trust as a board, we unanimously granted the position to be able to testify in our investigations. Thank you.
I just want to add to it also. This was a decision by the board, right? From the 3 people we questioned, we felt comfortable with the facts that we heard to put that in that area of the report. That was our decision. I also want to add, this is coming from my standpoint as a member, the more people you ask, the more you put yourself at risk of leaking information out. If we question everybody, then there's spur, and then we don't know if we're keeping the report confidential, which we did until we released it. So we asked 3, we got the facts we wanted for the report.
Senator Otley? You have one point.
So-
Straight to the point of order. Yes, that's duly noted. I don't know how many times I've asked you.
So if you guys do vote to go to an impeachment trial, there will be witnesses, and the witness who testified before us, whose name is redacted, can come and testify before you again, and then you will see why we made the choices that we did.
Or you can even call for more testimonies.
Senator, there's one follow-up.
I yield time.
Guriabi.
I'm so sorry.
So being that the number of people that you guys subpoenaed or had them volunteer to come in was only 3, one being the person of interest, the president, and the other 2 being the vice president and the other person of interest, don't you think that having more people who were key witnesses to what was going on in the SA office and what was being spent on, and who would have more knowledge on why the purchases were being made and had direct contact with the president, aid in the investigation, and provide more clarity as opposed to just having 2 people and citing, not wanting to have the information to leak out for reasons to not do that? Wouldn't you want to make sure that your investigation and that your findings are solid and have integrity, supersede that? I just don't see why you would minimize the scale of your investigation, especially when witness testimony would be so heavy in that. Why wouldn't you have more witnesses that would provide you with more information and provide a greater, broader understanding of what was going on and why the purchases were being made, and for what reason, as opposed to just having 3 people, one of them being the president? And do you think that this was entirely...
There's been a point of order?
No, it's a question.
No, the question was already asked.
Excuse me?
The question was already asked and answered.
What question?
You're
right, Chairwoman.
We'll respond.
So your question is why there were only 3 witnesses. And the very simple 1-sentence answer is that once we heard from our 3 witnesses, we were satisfied with the information that we had. And we didn't feel the need to drag more people into such a negative situation such as this.
Senator Osley?
Wait, hold on.
Now, if you want to see more testimonies, if you want to corroborate, you can vote yes to a trial and bring people in, subpoena people in, and that's how you get more information. We are not voting tonight to impeach the president. We are voting for a trial, just to clarify.
I was just going to say the same thing. If you vote for a trial, then you can bring all the witnesses you want. Great point.
Senator Osley? Senator Osley? Senator Osley?
Can I direct my question to a specific Board of Finance member?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
He didn't ask it.
I didn't ask my question. I was just asking the chair a point of inquiry. So my question is to Amy Zhang. So you formerly served in the capacity of Chief of Staff, and then assuming you would have worked in close capacity to the President. Is that correct? Okay, I believe she's answering in the affirmative.
Yes.
Am I correct? So when you were made aware of these instances in your capacity on the Board of Finance, what were your feelings and why did you make the judgment that you made? Can you explain that, please?
The judgment was the votes he's referring to? Why you, no, I don't remember.
Could you clarify that question again?
Can you explain how you felt about these instances and what your judgment is, pretty much?
Shouldn't this be asked in a trial? Point of information?
Yeah.
So,
I recognize that question.
I do not recognize that question, Senator Oscar. All right.
She has a point of view.
Yes, Senator Godwin. That is why I did not recognize the question. All right. Senator Montserrat.
Senator,
Senator McCheney, you can put your hand down.
point of personal privilege, please speak up. There are people in this room who are hard of hearing.
That is understood. Thank you. Appreciate it. So my question is, from your opening statement that you made, are you guys stating that it's a proven fact that the president herself was the one making every single purchase mentioned in your opening statement? Because you said she's the one that's taking our student activity fee, but is that proven?
So, in terms of, I know the first example I used was the BJ's membership. It's in her name, and it was bought with a card that is in her name. The PR was put in her name. So logic would follow that she got the BJ's membership.
Follow up, Senator Montserrat. One follow up.
So I'm sorry. I understand that was like one out of the many, but my question was, is it proven that every single one that you mentioned was proven?
So it's not the Board of Finance's job to prove anything, but the purchases that we're referring to are in the president's name. The card that we're referring to is in the president's name. We investigated purchases made by the president, and we found wrongdoing.
All right.
Point of information.
Yes.
Didn't the chairman say that it was the BOF's duty to find facts earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Talking. Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you asking me if that's what Chairman Salazar said?
Right.
Is it Chairman Salazar's position to find facts? That answer is listed in the summary of facts in the report.
Yes. So they do fact find. It's not an opinion. Correct?
Yes, not an opinion. Fact.
All right. Senator Wise.
I'm gonna pass.
All right. Senator Marseille.
Hi. So my question is, so the Board of Finance was 140 pages, and there was a couple pages that compared Lenji Kadeska's credit card amount to and President Chiancardi's amount. So I'm asking, like, why was that there? Like, what was that there to prove? Because I was a little confused. It's on like page 120. So my question is, in one page it shows Lenji Kadeska's credit card amount, and then the other page it shows President Chiancardi's amount, and it like compares the two. So I'm wondering, like, why is that page there? It's there to compare the two, and it's at the time of September and October. So I'm just asking, what is that page ultimately there for?
I'm going to defer this question to the comptroller, seeing that he knows a lot about credit card statements.
So on that credit card statement in question, that was actually because UAS told us that they cut off Lenji Kadeska's card. But on that one statement, we received it and we seen that it was a charge on Lenji Kadeska's card. So being that we don't have Lenji Kadeska's card and I shredded it myself, we knew that the card was compromised. So at that point, I went to UAS and I let them know that there was a charge for Lenji Kadeska's card. And then they went to SAFQ and we triple checked that the card was finally canceled and got the money reversed. So that was not to compare one person's card to another person's card. That was an actual charge on a card that was supposed to be canceled and told to us to be canceled by our fiscal agent, UAS.
Senator Keon? Pass. Senator McTurner?
So my question is specifically for Amy. So being that you were chief of staff and you were on the board, were you aware of these previous purchases prior to them being investigated after December 8th?
Thank you for your question.
This is for the trial. It's the same as the last question.
There's been a point of order. Your recommendation that you recognize it? Don't recognize it, so she's allowed to ask that question?
No.
She's not. The parliamentarian has said. Thank you. That you, so, Chief of Staff Zhang?
Because that's for the trial.
All right, so we're moving on.
Wait, Joe, what's your question?
I have a question. So you have a question? Yes. Wait. Hey, no
speaking
back.
out of order.
Stop,
That's your
stop.
first consequence.
All right. All right. So no more questions now. We have to move on. Remember, we only have this room till 12, so I don't know what we'll try and get this moving. So there's no more questions for the Board of Finance. Thank you. You may be seated. Now we're going to go to Madam President, President Chin Carty's opening statement. I'm going to temper.
I want you when it's 5.
Can we side chatter down to give the president the respect?
I want you when it's 5 left. Okay. 1:30.
Wait. The Chief Justice has to swear you in. Would you please state your name?
Design Chin Carty.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, under the pain and penalty of perjury?
I do. Okay, so I have a statement written out for you guys, but first of all, I do want to apologize for you all having to be here. So good evening, members of the Student Association, Senate, and friends and visitors. I'm standing here as the president of the Student Association, and the reason why I'm here today has been explained previously. But it's in regards to the charges that have been brought against me, including purchases that have been made via PRs, credit cards, that were allegedly deemed improper, and all by myself. At no time were any of these purchases made without consideration or At no time were any of these purchases made without consideration or the approval of without consideration of improving the general office statement. The functions of the Student Association have been improved, and we continue to do so to make it a more collaborative and efficient one. Regarding the Student Association's credit card, the credit card is in my name, which technically means that any purchase, whether I made it or not, is something that will be used and has been used in my name. The comptroller was present and verbally approved some of these transactions. Actually, he verbally approved many of them. So for some of those purchases, I actually didn't purchase, and we will go into that in a later detail when you ask questions. Regarding the credit card purchase and the BJ's, I was told to purchase the least inexpensive transaction. I did so in regards to try and save the Student Association money without having to go to other places to do so. One of the instances we did so was to be able to take the Community Engagement and Outreach Director to purchase things for the Pine Hills cleanup. And that was the only date that we used the credit card and the BJ's card at BJ's. And in that occasion, the comptroller was there, the vice president was there, and the director of Community Engagement and Outreach was there. Had I known that this would be a problem, trying to save the Student Association over $50, I would have purchased the business card for twice as much. And I would have rejected the request that was made by the comptroller to purchase the more expensive card, which is a corporate card. On that corporate card, when the account was created, I also created it using the Student Association president account, which means when the new president came over, I asked them, they said that the name could be changed as in accordance. And a second name can also be added. Even though I did not have the obligation to get pre-approval from the comptroller as president, I did confirm
confirm that this is going to be the case, and he also went with me to BJ's, and there's evidence that I can submit if you wish to know that the people were aware that SA had a BJ's card. Regarding the Cheesecake Factory incident, I admit I accidentally purchased the food from the Cheesecake Factory, and in that instance, I had the SA credit card out of the office. I had previously that weekend I went to a SUNY conference. I went directly from work to the conference, and I was there all weekend. One of the events that we went to ended at 1 o'clock in the morning. We were there from about maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, and then it ended at 1. After that, I met with the Buffalo State President, and I also met with UB's President. I can also submit other documentation that shows that I never at any point said that this Vice President of University of Buffalo was present. That PR was submitted on my behalf. And back to the Cheesecake Factory incident. When I received my receipt, I immediately noticed that I had used the wrong card. I have 2 SEFCU cards of my own. I can also show those to you if you wish. Once I had seen that card was charged, I had asked the waitress if the card charge could be cancelled. As I have previously worked in the restaurant industry, I know this is the case. She said she cancelled the card. The next day I followed up, and I have a voice recording from the manager that can prove that I did. I followed up to ensure that the transaction was cancelled. Whilst I admit that was a fault, I do apologize for my mistake. But as you can see, upon realizing I made a mistake, I took the necessary steps to rectify it. Because I thought the card was cancelled, I left it be, and it was only until I was informed that there was a card, that the charge was on the card, that I actually reached out to them again, and the money was actually reimbursed to the Student Association. For that, I do apologize. In regards to the purchase of Shun's, $8 from the kitchen, it was $8 from the Shun's kitchen. There was no protocols pertaining to what meals could be purchased because meals could be purchased on the Student Association card. On several occasions, and I can prove evidence to say that the comptroller felt it necessary on times that because we work over 10 hours, that we could actually use the credit card for lunch and for other meals. Like I said, I have the documentation. So there was no established amount for what I could have. I ordered the cheapest thing I could get, which was $8 in terms of delivery fee. I even paid for, whilst I did have a meeting with the University of Buffalo, I can even show that after that meeting, I met with the former chief of staff, and we're trying to implement new protocols to work with student groups because they have a self-governing student group. So student groups are categorized in accordance to whatever they do, if it's maybe spirituality, maybe sports, and they have their own self-governing. So we met about that. We also met about different racial climates at different institutions. So I paid for those meals out of my own pocket. All I was asking for was and all that was expected was that I had my meal paid for the conference that I was sent to, that I was asked to go to, and I was expected to go to as president. It was my duty to attend, so therefore that's why I had made that purchase. I followed the university's guidelines. I had previously spoken to a university administrator, and they said that typically when you do go on conferences, you're expected to pay for, when you go to the workplace, you pay for your own lunch. So outside of lunch, it's acceptable to pay for like your breakfast or your dinners, and that counts. There is no SA protocol that prohibits that, but precedence does set that the previous presidents and authorized users of the card have taken the card out of office while attending conferences. As it relates to the usages of other items that have been purchased via credit card, many elected and officers have also been members and beneficiaries of those purchases. One of the purchases I made were for the 123, the potluck, which I can submit evidence to you all if you wish. Would anyone like to see those documentations?
Yes.
I can airdrop them when you wish. So also the other thing I purchased was the 123 personalization. I was trying to save the Student Association money. To take the testing for each individual is $14.99. I could have had every single member of my staff take that testing, but what I did was I paid for it once, and I copied the documentation where it says what each personality trait has, and I used that to kind of purchase, to get the results from everyone. I had everyone submit their results to both myself and the vice president, and I used that to kind of work to see what people's personality traits were, how they worked well with others. So that was really for staff development. I can submit all those documentations to you if you wish, but I figured it made more sense to pay $14.99 once rather than paying for over 30 members of staff. There are some patches on the investigation, such as Paisans and an inmate call that I did not authorize, and nor were they by me. I will put this on my niece's life. I have never called a member of a prison, and nor was I even aware of that purchase. On a plethora of occasions, I had tried to ask for the credit card statement. It took me, I asked the comptroller, I asked many different individuals. It took me to go to UAS to request the credit card statement for me to find out what exactly was going on. According to Student Association bylaws, credit card reconciliations are supposed to be presented to the Senate in the comptroller's office, or they're also supposed to be presented to the Board of Finance, which means any of these transactions that did occur could have been brought up at the month of which the reconciliation was done. There were several instances where I had to report. There were several different instances where I had reported behaviors of student association officers, and I believe, and I reported them to the Board of Finance, I reported it to the Vice President. Nothing was really done about it, so I continued to just do my work diligently. I met with presidents, I met with the people, I've been to a plethora of different things to try and advocate for the students in terms of hosting town halls. And yes, things do slip through the cracks, and yes, I'm only one person. I'm in that office over 30 hours a week, so I apologize. And lastly, the false allegation in regards to my phone. Raise your hand if you know I've lost my phone. Last week in Senate, I left my phone here on accident without the charger. And in that meeting, when I had with the Board of Finance, I felt personally attacked and I was flustered. I said to the Board of Finance, I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD. So I requested the information on several occasions before. When I was in Jamaica dealing with my grandmother's funeral, I requested the information. For the Board of Finance, they denied me that request. I was bombarded in that meeting with all of these allegations, and so yes, I left flustered. So yes, I dropped my phone, and also if you know, I'm an Apple employee, if you do know, you can actually know that you cannot listen to recordings from that far of a distance, nor can you listen to it typically between 3 walls. On that night after the meeting, I also watched, as I was leaving, I saw, I'm not going to name the person of interest, but that person of interest is someone who I've held dearly to my heart. It's also the same person who's consolidated me through the loss of certain people in my life. So I have no ill feelings towards that person, and I would also appreciate that if that person is not attacked.
Who has a question?
Nick.
Yeah. Senator Keon, you had a question?
I have a question.
Wait. Senator Keon, Senator Garcia.
Could you yield me time for a question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Senator Garcia? Yes, okay. Senator Adesanya? Osei? You yield time to, okay. Who else? Someone yield time to Justin.
I yield time.
Senator Diallo yields time to Justin.
Point of personal privilege, I guess.
Someone yield time. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Can I just, Senator Diallo, can you be the point person for whoever needs to yield time? Do you mind, in terms of the minutes, if you are the point person?
Anyone else have a question? All right, and Keith, okay. Anyone else?
Can I ask a question?
Okay, Senator Guriabi, you on the list? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Senator Diallo?
And you have a question in the background.
Senator Lynch? Yes, I'm writing your name down.
I'm sorry. No, like a point of inquiry.
Okay, what is
Our
it?
question is only towards me.
Yes.
That's my name.
Yes, it is. Any others? Can someone yield time to, Senator Diallo yielding time? What's your name, miss? Huh? Carmen, okay. Who else? Where's my executive? Senator Diallo, did we allow executive? Can they ask questions?
No.
No, okay. That's by the rules. Who else? Zach, can someone yield, Senator Diallo yielding time to Zach?
Yeah, I'm yielding.
I believe we rule that executive branch members cannot act.
Oh,
I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting that. I'm sorry, Miss Jasmine. Keep forgetting.
Okay, y'all. Come on.
You're on the list.
That ass. Like,
If anyone has a question to ask, please ask it now. Make sure you have your hand raised so that people can use your time. This is the time for you guys to make sure you have all the facts correct. So don't be afraid to ask the questions to clarify.
There's someone in the back. Instead of y'all, what's your name, Mr. OJ? Okay, that's like all right. Any other? Nick, just like R&B? Yeah, just like R&B. Any others? No more? Is the comptroller's office included in that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Adam, Comptroller's office. Senator Conway? Anyone else? Okay, can Senator Yali yielding time?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Marion?
Okay, anyone else?